Senator Rick Santorum.
Thank you very much, Dave. I appreciate that. Thank you so much for coming out. Are we going to change the election tonight here in Minnesota? Thank you. Thank you very much, Senator. And I want to thank all the state senators and state representatives who are up here on the stage with me. We've had a wonderful outpouring of support from the people here in Minnesota. And as I said, walking in, I feel great that Minnesota is going to change the direction of this race tonight at the caucuses. It's great to be here. I'm sorry, a few minutes late. We had a little plane switch, so it was a little slower plane getting here. So I apologize for running a few minutes late. But I'm here with a couple of members of my family who are very excited to be back in Minnesota. We were here over the weekend and had just a wonderful day. It was Super Bowl Sunday. I know everybody. Well, not everybody, but there were a lot of people watching the Super Bowl, but we were just enjoying Minnesota. We spent part of the day here in the Twin Cities and the other part up in Bemidji, and it was great. The hospitality, you know, I've heard all this about Minnesota nice. It is absolutely true. You folks are just absolutely warm and friendly, and just a wonderful reception that we've gotten here. I just want to thank you all. A couple of my kids are here with me today to try to fire us up as we come down the stretch here Tuesday. It's my two oldest, Elizabeth, who is right over there, our 20-year-old, and my son John is over here. And many of you know that that we had a jump off the campaign trail about 10 days or so ago, and I just want to thank everybody as I was traveling around here the last few days in Minnesota, as the response and outpouring of love and support and prayers for our little girl Bella has just really moved all of us and our family. And I just want to thank you all for those prayers. She is doing just great. She's back home. She's well. And I want to thank you all for your prayers. They meant a lot to us. Thank you. Well, this is, as I said before, this is a big day. A lot of the pundits, and certainly one particular candidate, is trying to write a scenario. I was listening to some of the radio interviews he was doing up here in Minnesota, saying, well, you know, this caucus really doesn't matter, and today really doesn't matter because, you know, it's a caucus, and delegates aren't specifically selected here. Well, that's very interesting, because this caucus is just like the Iowa caucus. And it's very similar. Iowa has the same procedure basically the same procedure as Minnesota and Colorado. He seemed to think that was a pretty big deal when he was running down there and spending tens of millions of dollars in Iowa. So I think he's just trying to minimize, because he knows that the people here in Minnesota, the people of Missouri today in the primary, and the people of Colorado have been looking at this race, and they've been seeing the back and forth between the two candidates, Gingrich and Romney, and they don't like it. They don't like what they see. They see two candidates who aren't talking about the issues, two candidates who are focused on just beating each other up on personal matters that have nothing to do with beating Barack Obama in the fall, which is our primary goal. And they're looking for someone who's going to stay focused on the issues that are important to this country, not try to pick each other apart on personal matters, not try to play petty politics, but focus on things that are big, things that are important, like obviously what's going on in our economy. But there's something more and bigger than what's going on out there. I think people are starting to see it and recognize it. It's not just the bad economy that's out there and the lack of jobs and even the phony job numbers that we got last week. You know, I realized, you know, just from basic math, that you can actually lower percentages by reducing the denominator, actually the fewer workers that are out there working, instead of just increasing the numerator. And that's pretty much what the Obama administration is doing. They've had such a bad economy that we're at a 30-year low of people participating in the marketplace as workers. People are so discouraged by the negativity of this president. They're so discouraged by the anti-business and and pro-government and we're going to take care of you dependency attitude of this president, that the fewer percentage of people are participating in the workforce than in 30 years. And so this unemployment number of 8.3% is a hollow number. And the bottom line is that a lot of people are hurting, and even more than what you can see from the statistics that the president would like to talk about. So the economy is hurting. Our growth rate is under 2%. That is anemic, coming out of a recession that should be double that at least. We need jobs, that's the other point. We need jobs to make sure that not just those in the high technology jobs that may be big supporters of this president, but jobs that for everyone in America, blue collar workers and folks who have been left behind by this president as he continues to regulate and regulate businesses out of existence. But there's even a bigger issue than jobs, and that's the issue of freedom. This issue is ultimately about liberty. The reason the jobs are hurting is because we have a president who has been so oppressive and in passing legislation to crush the American spirit, to make Americans much more dependent upon government for almost everything in America. If you look at the areas that the president has been successful, he's been successful in taking over the healthcare system. Obamacare is a government takeover of healthcare. And what he did with Obamacare, I always thought, and I've been out making the point, that I think it fundamentally changes America because it makes Americans dependent upon government for their health, for their ability to be able to provide care, and for the economic decisions dealing with health. But you know what? I found out last week, it's even bigger than that. You know, I've always said, be careful. Because America from the very beginning was founded on the concept of God-given rights in our Declaration of Independence. And our Constitution was there to protect those God-given rights. And now we have a president who believes, like the kings and emperors of the past, who believe that no, rights really don't come from God, that they come from the government, and that the government can give you rights. And the government went out and promised you the right to health care. Said, you just give us more of your money. You just give up your freedom, and we'll take care of you. We'll make sure that you have all the health care you need. We'll give you a card, and you'll be able to go and get all the health care you want as long as you just let us control the health care system. Well, I said that was robbing you of your freedom and choice. It also robs you of a reality that just because you get a health care card doesn't mean you get health care. As we see in a lot of the socialist countries. And we see, by the way, in, let's pick out a state, Massachusetts, for example. 1 in 4 people under Romney Care say that yes, they have health care coverage, but they can't get the health care that they need. So having a card of health insurance doesn't guarantee you health care. But we saw this week that it's even more than your economic rights will be trampled, and your economic freedom will be trampled. We saw that the Obama administration now says that if we're going to give you a right, not only can we take that right away from you if we give it to you, but we can tell you how to exercise that right, whether you like it or not. And they said to people of faith, specifically the Catholic Church, that you will provide care. You will provide contraceptive care, you will provide the morning after pill, which is an abortion drug, and you will provide for sterilization and services, whether your faith prohibits it or not. They said that to Catholic universities and schools. They said it to Catholic charities. They said it to Catholic hospitals. They said, you are going to do this because you've now given us the power over you, and we are going to tell you how to exercise your rights. Ladies and gentlemen, not only are we losing our economic freedom, we're losing the freedom of conscience, the most fundamental of all freedoms in the First Amendment. And it was worse than that, because later that week we found out that the bishops wanted to send letters out to the people at Mass on a Sunday. But there was one diocese that wasn't allowed to do that. It was the military archdiocese. The Secretary of the Army in the Obama administration said that the letter that the Archbishop of the military sent out was, in his words, seditious. Seditious. And he prohibited him from sending that letter out to the chaplains to be read on Sunday services. and then made him change the language in order for it to be read the following week. Ladies and gentlemen, we give our rights, we give our freedom, we look for the government to provide for us. They own you. They take not just your economic liberty, they take everything from you. That's why this election is the most important election in our lifetime. This isn't just about jobs. This isn't just about the breakdown of the family. This isn't just about a president who is systematically destroying our credibility around the world. Not just apologizing for America, but what he's done in the Middle East just in the last few weeks, with stepping up at a time of great peril, at a time when the Ayatollah in Iran calls Israel a cancer that must be excised from the world. The President of the United States, what does he do? Does he stand by Israel? No. He reveals a bit of information, I'm sure privileged information, that we got from the Israelis, saying that the Israelis are planning attacks in the spring against Iran and their nuclear facilities. Announces this to the world. Our friend tells information about our friend and then condemns our friend and then tells the world to do so likewise. Ladies and gentlemen, he is isolating Israel at a time when Israel's existence is in jeopardy. This president is threatening our allies. This president is appeasing our enemies. And here at home, as I said before, he's denying us our rights. This is a huge election. We have to have someone who can go out in this election and draw a stark contrast between the record of Barack Obama and, well, the record of the Republican nominee. Someone who can make this election about Barack Obama and his lousy record for America as the nominee. Well, let's see who the best person is to do that. Well, let's look at the three candidates. Look, we have to look at this race, which I just talked about. This is a race about liberty. This is a race about who we are, about what kind of country that you were given and the one that you're going to hand to the next generation. Whether it's going to be economic freedom, whether it's going to be personal freedom and our First Amendment rights protected, or whether we're going to be a top-down, government-controlled society. The society in which most of your ancestors left to come to America because we were different. Well, let's look at the issues that really encapsulate what the issue of freedom is all about. Let's take, as I mentioned before, Obamacare. The first. Obamacare is what I described. Well, let's look at the other candidates in this race. Let's look at Congressman Gingrich. Congressman Gingrich has supported an individual mandate for 20 years. In other words, he supported the federal government's ability to tell each and every American that they must buy insurance or be fined if they don't. That is the core of Obamacare. But frankly, Newt is a little bit of a piker when it comes to how much contrast, how bad a contrast he is, because Governor Romney is far worse when it comes to Romneycare. I gave a speech down in Rochester yesterday, and I laid out in chapter and verse how Romneycare is in fact Obamacare. When the President Obama says that he used Romneycare as the template, now I understand why he said it. There are 15 different things, and not little things, big things. The core of Obamacare is the core of Romneycare. The core of Obamacare is what Romney suggested, which is an individual mandate. Not from the federal level, but from the state level. Does it matter? When the government says that they're going to make you buy insurance, does it really matter whether the federal government is telling you to do it, as far as whether it's a good thing to do or not? No. And when the government says that they're going to tax you and tell you how much you're going to have to pay for your insurance, everybody, not just those who are uninsured, everybody, and that they'll fine you if you don't buy insurance. They'll fine your employer if they don't provide insurance. Does it matter whether it's the state government or the federal government that's telling you to do that?